You did everything you were told to do. You went to college, picked a practical major, landed a stable job with benefits, maybe even a 401k match. But here we are in 2025, and the American dream feels less like a promise and more like an expectation that no longer matches reality. Because while you're grinding through 60-hour weeks just to stay afloat, New York has quietly become the epicenter of a class war nobody wants to talk about. And it's a reality few institutions have any incentive to acknowledge. Not politicians, not the media, and certainly not the corporations profiting from it. But it's real, and it's spreading. What's happening here isn't a protest. It's a full-blown rebellion. And whether you've noticed or not, its consequences are moving far beyond New York and towards cities just like yours. The Great Disconnect. Instagram versus reality. Scroll through Instagram for 5 minutes, and you'll swear everyone else is winning. You see influencers posing in Manhattan penthouses, finance guys drinking rooftop cocktails, and tech bros bragging about their stealth mode startup. But that's not the city most people live in. That's the highlight reel. Now, tilt the camera down to street level. You'll find the Uber driver sleeping in his Prius because rent jumped another 20% this year. You'll see a college grad juggling 2 gig jobs just to chip away at a mountain of student loans that only seems to grow. And you might see yourself in that picture too. This is the Great Disconnect. On paper, the economy looks amazing. Record profits, record valuations, record bonuses for people at the very top. But for everyone else, groceries cost more, rent feels impossible, and your paycheck buys less every single month. You're told to work harder, even as the cost of simply staying afloat rises faster than your paycheck ever could. You're assured the system is working, that if you're struggling, you must be missing something. But deep down, you know it's not you. It's the gap between the world we're shown and the world we actually live in. And that gap, once easy to dismiss, has become nearly impossible to overlook. The white-collar bloodbath. AI took your job. They told us AI would unlock human potential. They told us it would take the boring tasks and leave the meaningful work to us. But if you lived through 2024, you know that was a lie. For many, 2024 marked what would later be called the white-collar bloodbath, when thousands of people in safe office jobs realized they were just as replaceable as the factory workers they once felt different from. And it didn't happen slowly. It hit like a switch flipping off. 1 week, you're planning next quarter's strategy. The next, your entire department is on a Zoom call being told the company is realigning resources due to technological advancements, which, in plain terms, meant the company had found software that could handle your responsibilities at a lower cost. Coders, graphic designers, account managers, copywriters, financial analysts, even HR teams, the very people who hire and fire, found themselves replaced by software that doesn't need health benefits or weekends. Meanwhile, the companies making these cuts? Google, Meta, Amazon, the places that used to be dream employers, the ones promising innovation and stability. Their stock prices jumped as thousands packed up their desks. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. This wasn't a recession. This was a reset. A permanent shift in how work functions. Executives announced record earnings. Many workers, meanwhile, were handed severance papers and a cardboard box, and an auto-generated email saying, "Thank you for your service." So now you're competing with AI for your next job, fighting for positions that pay less, demand more, and vanish the second the next tool drops. And deep down, you feel it. The old system isn't just broken, it's actively pushing you out. This bloodbath wasn't the end. It was the spark, the thing that made millions of people realize the game has changed. And that's where figures like Zohran Mamdani enter the picture. Not as saviors, but as catalysts. Enter the anomaly. Zohran, the game changer. Mamdani. In every political era, there's always that one person who doesn't fit the mold. And in 2025, that person is Zohran Mamdani. While most politicians look like they were printed from the same corporate-approved template, Mamdani shows up the kind of political outlier you rarely see. Someone who breaks the pattern rather than fits it. The character you can't quite place, but you know is about to change the whole storyline. He's not the guy delivering polished speeches behind a podium. He's out in the streets with a portable mic, talking to people in plain English about rent hikes, grocery bills, and why working 2 jobs still isn't enough. He doesn't speak in slogans. He speaks in numbers, receipts, and lived experiences. And that's why people listen. To the establishment, he's unpredictable. He's not lobbying for a seat at their table. He challenges the premise of the room itself and invites others to do the same, and inviting everyone else to sit down. His policies don't read like academic theory. They sound like something your older brother would explain to you over a beer. Practical, blunt, and built for real life. But here's the twist. That makes him dangerous. Not dangerous like a villain, but dangerous like a disruptor. He's the guy who rewrites the rules while everyone else is still arguing about the instructions. And whether you agree with him or not, one thing is obvious. Mamdani isn't here to play the old game. He's here to flip it. And for millions of Americans who feel shut out, that's exactly the kind of main character they've been waiting for. The playbook: fighting fire with fire. So here's the real question. How does someone like Mamdani take on a system that's been undefeated for decades? Simple. He doesn't fight harder. He fights smarter. He's not the guy yelling about burning down banks or nationalizing everything in sight. His approach looks more like a strategist flipping through a playbook, picking the exact moves that expose the system's weaknesses. Move 1. The housing heist. New York is full of empty office towers, entire skyscrapers left behind after remote work reshaped the city. To everyone else, they're dead assets. To Mamdani, they're an opportunity. He wants to convert them into affordable apartments, turning corporate ghost towns into livable homes. Why? Because the biggest weapon landlords have is scarcity. Remove that scarcity, and suddenly rent hikes start losing their punch. It isn't disruption for its own sake, it's strategy. Move 2. The grocery gambit. Food prices are out of control, and everyone knows it. Instead of begging giant corporations to stop inflating costs, Mamdani proposes a city-run alternative. Grocery stores selling essentials at cost. No insane markups. No supply chain excuses. If the city can sell milk for $2.50, Walmart and Whole Foods can't keep charging double without looking like villains. It forces a comparison the market isn't used to handling. One where basic necessity outweighs corporate margins. Move 3. The transit trap. He's also pushing to expand and modernize public transit, not as a climate gesture, but as an economic weapon. Cheap, reliable transit means workers aren't held hostage by car payments, insurance, and gas prices. It frees up income instantly, something no tax credit or stimulus check can match. Each move isn't radical on its own. They're practical, targeted, designed to shift power without blowing up the entire structure. And that's what makes his playbook dangerous to the establishment. It doesn't just challenge the old rules, it rewrites them in real time. You don't have to agree with every policy, but you can't deny this. While everyone else is arguing about ideology, Mamdani is out here running actual plays. And for a generation tired of empty speeches, that's the kind of strategy that finally feels real. But strategies don't stay local for long, especially when they challenge pressure points that every major city shares. The battle for the soul of America. This isn't just a New York experiment. What's happening in this city is the blueprint for what could happen everywhere else. If Mamdani's model gains traction here, you're going to see versions of it in Chicago, in Atlanta, in Denver, places where the cost of living has already pushed people to their breaking point. And that's why this fight matters. It's not about left versus right anymore. It's about the people who have leverage and the people who don't. It's a question of power. Who has it, and who's being asked to bear the cost? And for the first time in a long time, the bottom isn't staying quiet. People are organizing, questioning, and refusing to accept a future where their job disappears to AI and their rent doubles in the same year. This is the battle for the soul of America, and whether you like it or not, you're already part of it. Zohran Mamdani might win, or he might get steamrolled by the machine he's challenging. But either way, he's already done something most politicians never manage. He lit the spark. He proved you don't have to just accept a system that keeps pushing you down. Change isn't a question anymore. It's an inevitability. The real question is this: when that shift finally hits, are you going to stand on the sidelines or decide where you stand when the shift becomes impossible to ignore?